I actually did film a budget video with my latest paycheck, but then I ended up changing my budget a lot. So in this video, I'm actually going to fill out a conscious spending plan, a plan devised by Ramit Sethi, who is a popular finance YouTuber who has the I Will Teach You to Be Rich podcast. I did read his book earlier this year. If you listen to Ramit's podcast at all, you'll know that he does not like budgets. I understand his plan. Sure, we can call it a conscious spending plan, but to me it's still a budget of sorts, except he focuses on percentages. These percentages are basically guidelines as to how you should be spending your money and automating the money that you are sending towards certain categories. I have been putting some of his directives in place, like I did automatic transfers from my checking account towards my Roth IRA, automatic transfers from my checking to my savings when I was saving up for a house down payment. That's definitely helped, and let's get into it. So as a little background, he first has you fill out a current spending plan and a conscious spending plan. I ended up filling these out before shooting this video because I just wanted to really know my numbers without having to figure it out all on camera. So the numbers are basically the same between the two plans, but I just want to show you some of the differences between the two. So the current spending plan, it just basically serves as a baseline to help you figure out how much you're really spending right now, especially for people who don't really keep a good track of their finances. So the first thing he has you put in is stuff that will make up your net worth. So here I have $13,400. My only real physical asset is my car, which is a depreciating asset. So every month I kind of update this number and make it lower. And then I have my investments, so this is including my Roth IRA and my 401k. And I don't think I had any of the investment apps that are micro investments in here, so this is really just those two accounts. And then I have my savings, so just for the sake of making it match up to my current net worth, I did include stuff in my checking account, my savings account, and my HSA, so that's $12,000. And as you guys know, I have zero debt, so that's my favorite part of this, that I get to put a zero here. The next section is income. So he has you put in your gross monthly income. That's all your income before taxes. So here I put mine. And I did just get my yearly salary and then divide it by 12 basically. So that's what this number is. If you're a salaried person and you're used to being paid bi-weekly, this number does not look like what you typically make in a month, especially if they look at their net monthly income, because they'll see this number and be like, oh my god, that's way more than I typically get in my paychecks every month. And that's because you get 3 paychecks some of those months during the year. So now for the fun part, we go into fixed costs. I put in my cost of rent, which is $1,319. My portion of the utilities, so that's $145. Insurance, that includes medical, dental, and renter's insurance. Actually, my medical and dental insurance is pre-tax, so it's actually a bit less than what you see here, but for the sake of simplicity, I just put the total numbers in here. And then we have transportation, gas, tolls, and insurance. So that's what I typically spend in a month. And if you've seen my YNAB budget, although I tend to pay my insurance policy in full whenever it renews every 6 months, now I save for it every single month in my budget. I know it's coming, I'm prepared for it, instead of just, saving up $500 in 1 month and then trying to pay that off, if I remember that expense is coming up. So I just find that that's a lot easier, and this is the total that I typically spend on transportation. One more thing I didn't list in here is actually the maintenance, which is included in this number. So that's including the money that I would spend on typical oil changes. So now I budget $50 a month on maintenance for my car. Then I have Percy, that includes food, groomers, vet expenses. I just save $150 every month, and I think this value is a little bit higher than what I have been spending in the past. Again, I just made these numbers the same as my conscious spending plan that you'll see next. Health is $6. That's really just for the dentist. I am able to cover my doctor medical spending with my HSA card, so that's been a big help. And then I'm going to budget roughly $200 on groceries. I combined these two categories here because I just didn't want to create more rows. $100 on restaurants and $110 on personal things like wardrobe, you know, clothes, shoes, stuff like that. And then I have $173 on subscriptions, which makes my fixed costs almost $2,700 a month, which is a lot, but again, that includes housing and utilities, so that's what's taking up a big portion of it. And then because the net income that you saw at the top does not include stuff that is taken out of my paycheck, like investments, this is a whole other section in the plan. For investments into my 401k, you'll see that I send about $379 a month towards my investments from my paycheck. This is not including the company match, obviously, because that's not being taken out of my own income. And then I have my post-tax investments into my Roth IRA at $541 or so every month. So that leaves us at $920 in investments. Then we have savings goals. So I put $500 on vacation, 0 in house savings now, and then I'm putting $1,000 towards my parents' mortgage. I'm just classifying that as savings because I wanted to have its own category. I guess I could create a new one, but just didn't feel like it, so I just put $1,000 there, and then 0 on emergency fund because I already have my emergency fund, so that's $1,500 total. And then everything else, I guess, leaves me with 14% of my net income, which is $812. I don't spend $812 in a month typically. The first time I saw these kinds of numbers when filling out these plans, I was definitely shocked. Because I don't think I would ever do that unless it's for Taylor Swift. And I have done that for Taylor Swift, but Taylor Swift only. Okay, so now we go into the conscious spending plan portion. The purpose of this plan is to really show you how much of a percentage of your money is going to things that you really care about. So again, one of the things that Ramit says a lot is to spend extravagantly on things that you love and cut down mercilessly on things that you don't really love. You'll see the income here at the top is the same. Now in the headings for each major category, like fixed costs, he actually gives you suggested percentage guidelines. So in this case, fixed costs should be 50 to 60% of your take-home pay. The amounts that I put into each category are basically the same as the current spending plan, except that I took out the spending on restaurants and groceries in these explicit categories because he has this little calculation here that adds 15% for things you forgot, aka groceries. And I looked at how much I spent for groceries and restaurants, and it's still less than $359. It's very unlikely that I'll forget something because I really just like stopped and looked at all my budget, all my spending throughout this past year. Because I have that data from YNAB, it's pretty unlikely that I forgot anything unless I go and splurge a bunch of stuff on like clothes or shoes or something like that. So I'm pretty confident in these numbers. Now my total in fixed costs is $2,755, and that is still, you know, 46% of my income, less than half of my take-home pay. So I'm okay with that number. Now we have investments. Here he's suggesting that investments should be like 10% of your take-home pay. Since I'm contributing some money towards my 401k and Roth IRA, I guess I did change my 401k a little bit here. Maybe this is more of an average. I think that's definitely the average for this past year. And that leaves me at 16% of my income, my take-home pay, being sent towards investments. So it's 6% higher than what he's suggesting, but I'm pretty happy with that number. And then we have savings goals. So he's suggesting that 5 to 10% of take home should be sent towards savings. I'm sending $500 towards vacations, which is definitely, it's a form of savings. The issue is that I go on a lot of vacations now, and I'm very happy to do so because that's what I really want to spend on extravagantly. And because I am sending $1,000 towards my parents' mortgage, that number is much bigger. So if I actually deleted that, I would be within the range of what Ramit suggests to save, and then I would have a bunch more money for guilt-free spending. So if I didn't classify parents' mortgage as savings, which again, it really isn't, it's more like giving, then my guilt-free spending would be in the correct range, between 20 and 35% of take home, where I can do whatever I want with that money. I'm perfectly happy sending $1,000 towards my parents' mortgage, and then somehow I have $733 left every month to spend on whatever I want. Whether that is actually the case or not, I don't know. It's very likely that I'll just send extra money towards my parents' mortgage on months that I have like a third paycheck or something. That's really it. But one of the bigger things here is that I think I do need to spend more money on myself, because I don't think I can comprehend spending $1,700 on myself every month. Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. It almost seems like a waste. Like, if my parents didn't have a mortgage right now and I wasn't trying to save for a house, I don't know what I would even spend that money on. But this is where I'm at right now, and hopefully you'll see those changes in my next budget. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know if you've tried filling out your own conscious spending plan and how that actually went for you, especially if there were any surprises that you encountered along the way.